What we see now is an absolutely unjustified attack on an independent, sovereign, peaceful nation in Europe, Ukraine, by President Putin and his forces. And this is a brutality and a scale of war that we haven't seen in Europe since the Second World War. And therefore we call on Russia, on President Putin to end the war, to withdraw all its forces and to engage in good faith in diplomatic efforts. And I would like to commend Turkey for playing a key role in trying to facilitate diplomatic political processes that can lead to a peaceful solution. There was a meeting here yesterday. We all understand it's difficult, but it is important, the efforts by Turkey. We have a responsibility to help to end this war, not help to expand it. And therefore we are focused on how can we prevent this war from getting even worse, expanding beyond Ukraine's borders. Because that will lead to even more suffering, more civilian casualties, more death, more destruction. And that's the reason why we are not sending in NATO troops on the ground and not sending in NATO planes in the air. I understand the frustration in Ukraine, but I also think that an escalation beyond Ukraine's borders will actually just cause even more suffering, more death, and therefore we will not engage directly in the war by sending in NATO forces in the air or on the ground. You're absolutely correct that no-fly zones have been used before, and at the same time we need to understand that Bosnia, Libya and Ukraine are very different situations, and what we have seen also in these previous occasions is that to impose a no-fly zone is not only about declaring a no-fly zone, but it's actually about being willing to use military force to uphold and impose a no-fly zone. And that will mean that NATO has to conduct massive airstrikes against Russian air defense systems, not only in Ukraine, but also in Belarus and Russia. And it means that we have to be ready to directly confront Russian planes. So massive attacks on Russian air defense systems and direct confrontation between NATO planes and Russian planes, that will most likely trigger a full-fledged war between Russia and NATO, and then the result of that will be suffering, civilian casualties, destruction in a scale which is also even worse than what we see today in Ukraine. So this is partly about preventing the conflict in Ukraine from escalating, but also preventing a full-fledged war between NATO and Russia.